Oh, good.
I guess you're saving money on that shampoo.
I am.
Yeah.
It was getting really pricey.
But more importantly, what does your wife think? Is she liking it? She digging it?
She digs it. Yeah. And the kids like it too. The
Yeah.
kids
Oh,
like.
I'm sure they must be having a ball with
I'm
it.
getting a lot of rubs, on my head, so I like
Anytime
it.
you're ready, yours, Steve.
Okay. Wow. Great job, Matt, as always. And what was your initial reaction when Steven came to you with this script?
Well, he was actually way more effusive than Norm. Steven's a very kind of, I mean, you've interviewed him a bunch, I'm sure. He's a very reserved and kind of generally quiet guy, and he called me like very excited, and I'm like, what's going on, and he said, I just read Scott's script. He said Scott just wrote the best thing he's ever written, which we did The Informant with him. I also did The Bourne Ultimatum with him. I mean, he's a terrific writer. I think of him, I hold him in very high regard. So obviously that got me really excited. And so
Yeah.
Steven sent it over to me, and I read it, and he didn't even tell me which role, he wanted me for. He just said, look, there's a ton of great roles. And the three male leads I thought were all great, really very different roles. And so I just called him back, and I said, this is great. I said, I'll do whatever you want. Just let me know. And he thought about how he wanted to cast it, and gave me the role of Emhoff.
And Emhoff, I mean, the one thing, and I think it was a perfect casting for you because he's the everyday man. He's the
Yeah.
we all relate to him. And we all, we just always see you as that very humble, very, giving with your fans and everything. So I think it made it even more scarier that, oh my God, we could really relate to this, what's going on here.
Yeah. He was a really, I think he's the easiest character to relate to in a lot of ways, for the audience and for me playing him, because he's just a guy who's trying to keep his daughter alive. And I think any parent can relate to that. So yeah, I mean, it was a really, and also just working with Steven it's just fun. I just love going and kind of problem solving with him every day. Like the scene in the hospital where I find out that my wife died. That was a kind of an on-the-spot rewrite that Scott did based on conversations we were having with a real ER doctor who had this conversation many times, and I'm really proud of that scene because I've never seen that scene done that way, and that's a very common scene you see in movies. A person gets horrible information at the hospital, and yet we did it in a way that I've never seen it before, and yet it's very honest. That's actually that reaction of not being able to even comprehend what's just been. The information that's just been given to you is as common as the reaction of just turning into a blubbering mess. According to these doctors who do this all the time, they said there's this other really strange reaction that we get, which is we have to be explicitly explain that somebody is dead because the person's just not registering it. They just literally go, okay, well, can I go talk to her? It's just not, and they say things like, I just saw her. But I just, and so we wrote it out based on how these real interactions go, and that's just the thing about working with Steven. He always wants to find a real but an interesting way to tell a story.
Does working on this, does it make you more kind of aware of your surroundings? I can't even imagine what the set was like. Were you all like, don't touch me?
There's a lot of Purell on the set, yeah. And then a lot of conversations about investing in Purell. Like we were like, should we be buying stock? But no, for me, I think I probably wash my hands a little more than I used to. But I by and large, I mean, I travel a lot. I think I've been exposed to a lot. I've been sick in my life. I think I have a lot of immunities, and I like having my immunities. So I don't want to overdo it with my kids. Like when my kids get, when their noses are running and, it's New York and it's November and they're sniffling all over the place, I go, this is good. They're building up stuff they need here.
You got so much stuff on the go, but I want to ask you about Happy Feet 2. How much fun did you have doing that? And tell me a little bit about who you play in that. Is Brad Pitt your partner in crime?
Yeah, it's Brad and me, and we play krill. Those tiny little fish krill, and Brad is a krill who I don't want to give too much away, but he feels like there's more in the world for him. He feels like he shouldn't just be going with the entire group, that maybe he needs to go against the grain a little bit, and I follow him as his loyal friend, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. You know, we got to see the very rough animation. This is probably a year and a half ago that we did it. But so we got to see the whole movie, but kind of in sketch form almost. And even in sketch form, it was just great. And I can't wait for my kids to see it. And you know, I'm looking forward to seeing the real thing.
I can't wait to see it too. Those movies are so
They're
fantastic.
great.
And of course, here we have no hair, Matt. So can you tell us a little bit about the movie you're working on right now?
I'm doing a movie with Neil Blomkamp, who directed District 9, and he's just awesome. And this is the part of the look of the guy. It's a futuristic movie.
And you were saying that your kids really like that.
They do. I'm like a walking Brillo pad. They grab, you know, they love, even my 10-month-old, like her favorite thing to do, if I want her to laugh, I just put my head right down and she just starts smacking the top of my head and laughing her ass off. She thinks it's the funniest thing. And, you know.
We'll do anything to amuse our kids.
I will do anything to amuse my 10-month-old, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you a question because when, you know, early in your career, of course, you won an Oscar for writing a screenplay. When are you going to sit down and do that again? Have you thought about that?
Well, you know, I've thought about it. A lot of I haven't felt like I haven't been writing for the last 12 years. You know, there's so much crossover with all the different jobs. Even though I don't get credit with writing, I feel like that part of me is fulfilled. That part of creating is fulfilled because if you're working in a really great environment, you know, the writer and the director and, you know, everybody is there just trying to, you know, come up with the best ideas, the best ways of doing things. And it's a very fluid and creative and great process, and shared process. And that's what I felt like when I was writing with Ben. You know, that's what we were trying to do, kind of come up with the best way to do each scene. And that's what I do every day. So I still feel like that part of me gets, you know, that part of my being is engaged every day at work, you know. But having said that, I mean, I do miss the quiet of sitting down and writing. I talked to Scott Burns about it last night. Actually, we had dinner, and he was saying I do like. He said there is something nice about going first, you know, because you kind of frame the whole thing, and you know, and I haven't gone first in a while because I come in, you know, when there's the template is already there, and I'm kind of doing some adornment, you know.
Well, you still do an amazing job of what you're doing on screen. We love seeing you, of course, and always wonderful to talk to you. Congratulations on this. Great job.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great
Yeah,
job.
it was a cool ensemble.
Yeah.